Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. On today's show, can James Harden and the Rockets dethrone the Warriors in the West? Plus, Rob Parker joins the show to explain why there's no way Tiger Woods should be considered the most dominant athlete of this century. And should Cowboy fans be preparing themselves for another letdown season? Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. Let's start with the Rockets. They won again last night, 115-111 in Portland. Houston has now won 23 of their last 24 games, and they ended the Blazers' 13-game winning streak. James Harden looked like the MVP again with 42 points, and the Blazers duo of Damian Lillard and C.J. McCollum struggled, missing all 12 of their three-point attempts. Shannon, what did you learn last night?
Well, the Rockets continue to impress me. They're the best team in the NBA this year, and I still believe they are the strongest contenders to unseat a healthy Warriors team. Skip, James Harden is special. And we saw in the video right there, Aminu and Lillard, they tried to double team him. And he pulls up from 27 feet and splashes a three. He has no weakness offensively, Skip. And the thing is that they put you in the high pick and roll. So now he's going to get your big. He's going to get Nurkic on it. Nurkic. He's going to get him on him. He's going to go by it. Okay, now, you try to play off him, sag off him, he'll raise up and put the three ball in you. They put the pick, and now he has Shabazz Napier on him, and he's just dancing, getting to the basket. And again, shot 15 free throws last night. So, and when you look at it like this, Eric Gordon played more minutes than James Harden and Chris Paul. Skip, he's a bench player. When you can have a bench player play more minutes than your two superstars in a game of this magnitude on the road against the Portland Trail Blazers, who were the hottest team in basketball, it tells me come playoff time, these guys will be fresh. James Harden scored 42 points in under 33 minutes. He's special. And I don't know about you, Skip Bayless, but I thought LeBron killed Nurkic last. But clearly he hadn't had enough because everybody's still dunking on him. How long do you think that Jarvik, I'm going to date myself, and you know about the Jarvik 7, the artificial heart, in the early 80s, they inserted one in Barney Clark. I don't know how much longer this artificial heart's going to last in Nurkic, but he's on everybody's poster, Skip.
Really?
But I told, everybody.
Man, I saw a completely different game. I don't know. Joy, I must have flipped to the wrong game. I don't know. Maybe it was just so late. Maybe it was the glasses.
Oh, you didn't see Capella dunk on him?
I did not see that. I didn't see it like you saw.
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I saw it. Because I could see clearly. I was sitting up there with my glasses. My dog's looking at me like,
really?
What you
Who
got?
are you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Skip, this is the best team in basketball right now. James Harden is playing unbelievable. Chris Paul. Because think about the start of the fourth, James Harden starts on the bench, and they extend that lead. So, unfortunately, we're going to talk about your team that you see as the biggest challenge to the Golden State.
Oh, I definitely see them. I definitely still see them as
But James Harden and the Rockets, they're special, and there's nothing he can't do offensively.
They may be special, but I am still not buying the Houston Rockets. I saw a very different game than you saw, and I got LASIK surgery. I don't know. That's all I got. I don't know. I got like 20/15 vision. I can see clearly. I can see.
No, you can't.
I saw a game last night in which Houston still looked terribly vulnerable in the late and close situation that game suddenly somehow became. And I saw Chris Paul III get away with another non-call on a gray area, borderline dirty play at the very end of that game that just drove me out of my mind. How does he keep getting away with what he gets away with? Is it because he's the president of the Players Association? Or is it because in the State Farm ads, we see such a nice guy, Chris Paul, hanging out with his State Farm agent, going bowling and playing charades? Is that the guy? Because the truth is, that's not the guy who plays basketball.
Well, because he's small, Skip. You don't think
he's
small?
He's just a cuddly little CP3. I'm sorry, but to all of your points, Houston had no business almost blowing a game in which they made 19 threes to Portland's 11. That's +8 times 3. That means you're +24 from the three-point line. What usually happens when you're +24?
You get blown out.
You just get blown out. And how about just the guard shooting? You got James Harden, who is very special, as we know, and CP3. They make 10 out of 17 threes last night. And the two other guards, Damian and CJ, combined, as Joy said, to go 0 for 12. That's plus 10 threes right there from your 2 guards versus your 2 guards. 10 times 3 is 30. You're plus 30 on guard three-point shots. It should be a complete and utter embarrassment, humiliation, wipeout at Portland. And just for that matter, how about just in the fourth quarter? Houston made 7 of 10 threes in the fourth quarter. Portland 0 for 4 from 3. So you're plus 21 from the three-point line just in the fourth quarter. And guess what, boys and girls? It went to the bitter end. Portland had a real shot with 5 seconds left, even though Houston was up, by 9 with a minute and, what was it here? I'll find it in just a second, but with about a minute and a half left, they go up 9 points. And guess what? Portland goes on a 7-0 late run, and it was keyed by yet another block by that guy who got killed by LeBron James, the guy who died. Nurkic?
Yeah.
Poor man.
That
He
Jordan
died.
7 about to run out, though.
He got his heart snatched completely out of his body by LeBron James. And we saw the zombie apocalypse last night because Yusuf Nurkic, I swear he was gone. At least he retired. Just gave up and quit and went home to, I think he's from Bosnia. I think he went home. Nope. Showed up last night. Can you believe he went for 21 points and 11 rebounds and had 4 blocks? And his block of a James Harden shot, if we could see that, it keyed the run, the late 7-0 run. There's Harden up. Wait, that was the zombie got it. That was Nurkic who blocked it. And guess what? Nurkic blocked James Harden, by my count, 3 times in the lane in that game, and Harkless got him 2 more times. So James Harden, special, got 5 of his shots blocked in the lane because he just goes into the lane and begs for foul calls. And he just throws it up, and usually he gets them. And last night he's looking at the ref like, do you know who I am? I'm James Harden.
I watched the game very closely, Skip, and there are times that James Harden will come and throw the ball up. Nobody touches him.
Yeah.
But there's a method to his madness because guess what? Come fourth quarter time, he'll get that call. He shot another 15 foul shots. He shot over half of their free throw attempts.
He only averages 10 foul shots, and he shot 15 last night. And despite everything we just talked about, Portland goes on a late 7-0 run, and all of a sudden, CP3 has the ball in his hands, 28 seconds left. They are only up 2. And CP3 goes over to the right. Harkless almost stole the ball from him. It was real close. And then CP3 throws up a desperation shot, if we could see this in the lane, a desperation shot, and back irons it badly. And it bounds out. Here we go. Here's CP3. He almost lost it to Harkless. He just throws it up off the back iron. And guess what? We'd have to slow it down a little bit. He just shoves Aminu right in the back. Just shoves him right in the back, right there. Just shoved him right in the back. He is 6 feet tall. Aminu is 6'9", and there's only one way you're going to get the basketball from Aminu, who's going to get the long rebound. You have to just shove him in the back.
Whoa, Skip, hold on.
You have to call this.
No.
Yes.
I remember a Sunday when Pau Gasol used 2 hands to push LeBron in the back. And you said that was he pushed LeBron James. That's LeBron James.
Okay, but that was with like 3 minutes to go in the games. And this was with 5 seconds to go, and Portland's going to have the basketball with 5 seconds left and a chance to go to the other end and win the game. And with the momentum they had on their 7-0 run, 7-0 run, I would have given them a shot. So was that sly on Chris Paul's part? Was it crafty? Was it wily? Yeah, it was all of the above, but it also is illegal. You just have to call it. He gets away with it all the time. What just happened the other night in Minnesota? Chris Paul kind of undercuts, remember Georgie Jang?
Yeah.
And Jang just didn't like it because he's always, submarining. He's pushing.
He plays hard.
Yeah, he plays real hard. He plays gray area hard night after night after night. And Jang just had enough of it. So as they go toward, they both chase the ball toward the sideline, and he just says, I've had enough. And he pushes Chris in the back. And then here comes Gerald Green comes flying, which he should have, to retaliate and protect his teammate. Yeah. And he got the $25,000 fine, which Chris Paul says he will pay. We'll see if that happens. But the point is that Jang just said, I've had enough of this little guy. He's getting away with too much. At least I'm going to push him in the back the way he pushes us in the back constantly and gets away with it. But to me, bottom line, at the end of the game, I saw Chris Paul get away with something he always gets away with. So if you want to go bigger picture, if you want to say he's going to bring a toughness and a cachet with the refs that will help get James Harden over the top, over over the edge that he can't get over in the postseason. I'll give you that. But we know that both of these guys have disappeared in the postseason regularly.
Yeah.
And again, I think both of them were starting to disappear down the stretch because they were starting to choke because they were missing shots badly. Chris Paul was missing shots.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. James Harden checks out of the ball game with 3:15 left in the third. They're down 5. When he comes back in the fourth quarter, they're up 6. What superstar you know? LeBron James is not leaving down by 5 and up by 6 when he comes back in the ball game. He can barely get a break. Maybe Steph and KD. One of those guys can sit out and they're down 5, but you got one of those guys. But Chris Paul, when you have Chris Paul, you're going to basically, what they're saying is, the Rockets saying, we're going to get 48 minutes of great guard play. We will always be in to get whatever sets we want. We will be able to get into those because we have CP3 and James Harden handling the basketball. Skip, James Harden doesn't get enough credit for his handles, but he's unbelievable. And what makes it, maybe it's just because he's left-handed, and most of the great ball handlers that we can, the Kyries, the Isaiah Thomas, the Pete Maraviches, the Allen Iversons, they were all righties. But Skip, he's 6'5", and when he sits down and he starts going through his legs, and he darts, and then here you go. And the next thing you know, he skates back, pops up with a 3. Now you hug up on him, he goes to the basket. And they're going to call it, because if you look at him hard enough, even if he gets a layup, now he's at the line.
That is true.
And there's really nothing you can do. They made the plays, and this is what you have to do. You have to make the plays down the stretch. Now, we're going to talk about a team that didn't make plays down the stretch, being up by, 5 or 6 points with 20 seconds left in the ball game, and they lose. Chris Paul brings a dimension that James Harden now, he doesn't have to play those 40-plus minutes a night in order for them to win. He can play 32, 33 minutes because when they get further in these playoffs, they're going to have to probably bump those minutes up, but they'll be well rested when they get to that point.
As opposed to LeBron James, who's playing
mad
minutes.
But see,
crazy.
what we do is that we got that Navy SEAL training. Oh, you know when you go to Navy SEAL training, Skip?
Yeah.
Ooh, wow. Yeah, when you go to Coronado Beach. I think ain't that what they train them at, Coronado Beach, Skip? Yeah. You have to lay down there and hold them big old logs up there. LeBron was out there say he held a log off.
San Diego's.
Yeah. They say LeBron held that thing up there for like 10 minutes, Skip, 100-pound log in the water
Good to go.
with a 70-pound weight vest on.
Really?
Not Tiger, it works.
Just treading water.
Yeah, it broke Tiger's body.
But Tiger Woods ain't made of that stuff. That guy from Akron. Yeah, that boy come from good stock, not Woodstock.
Yeah, I guess
so.
Man.
I
guess so. Earl might have something to say about that. May he rest in peace. Yeah. But statistical anomaly. James Harden last night was -5 and plus-minus. So that means that all those minutes he was on the floor, which was 33 minutes, that his team lost the game by 5 points. Just for the record, as special as he is, and I get how special. You're right. His step back is so lethal now that it's just laughable. It's just like,
he gets so much separation.
It's too good. And then he so easily, effortlessly just goes by anybody who tries to get up in him. He just goes right by him.
Yep.
And then he takes it to the rim, and they're just going to blow the whistle, or Nurkic is going to block your shot.
Except for LeBron can't get those calls. Why not, Skip?
That is true. LeBron he doesn't get a third of the calls that James Harden gets. And he doesn't get a third of the calls that Chris Paul gets away with, which are the non-calls. That is true, because if LeBron did anything like that, he would get called for it. I agree. But Chris Paul has cachet with the referees because of his State Farm ads, and LeBron gets no cachet with the referees. I don't know, because I don't know. Maybe they see what I see. I don't know.
We equate size with age. We equate size with, they can't do anything. If a big guy did half the stuff with Chris Paul, they throw him out the league.
They would. I agree.
But
and it just amazes me about his reputation because he is the president of the Players Association.
Pristine.
And so the players have high regard and respect for him. Except Damian Lillard has gone at him a few times.
Yeah.
And there was bad blood going into last night because remember the last time they played, Chris Paul shot a layup, an uncontested layup with 5 seconds to go. And Damian he took exception, as a lot of people would. Yeah. But Chris Paul still gets respect around the league, even though I'm not saying he's a dirty player. He just gray area.
He plays on that edge every single night. Every single night.
And the players know it, and the players let him get away with it because he does play hard. He plays dirty hard to me, but that's just me.
I mean, sometimes you got to give him one of them little quick bowls when the refs ain't looking. Just get right to the chest.
Yeah.
Okay, more to come. Stay tuned. Hey, you better back up.
I'm still not trusting the Rockets in the postseason. Sorry.
Well, you got to have a team because your team not going to make it.
My team will make the
No.
playoffs. Yeah.
Because Kawhi Doctor hadn't cleared him yet.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, my team's going to be a first-round exit in the playoffs, but it looks like it will make the playoffs now.
No. Kawhi's doctor, he's waiting on his doctor to give him the word that he's okay to go.
Yeah, I know.
Well, maybe
I've
the
had
Spurs.
enough.
Hold on. What about the Spurs? Maybe they need to hire Kawhi's doctor, and he would pass him, and Kawhi get on the court.
Kawhi's doctor is too expensive for the Spurs.
Really?
Trust me.
They're a franchise skip. They got way more money than Kawhi.
I don't know. So Kawhi's he's got it in his head.
What about all that money they saved by not paying Tim Duncan market value? Spend some of that on Kawhi's doctor.
You mean all that Tim Duncan didn't take so they could have the deepest bench in pro basketball, so they could blow LeBron's team off the court by a record margin in the finals because they were so much deeper than the Heat were in 2014 because Tim Duncan was making $5 million while LeBron wants to make $33 million?
40
million?
Yeah.
Whatever. You know,
And
way to go.
it didn't happen in 2013.
You know what? LeBron should take no money to play.
I wish he might.
Seriously. Does LeBron not make enough off the
No.
court? How much does he make off the court?
Not enough. I ain't
is
counting
it,
that
like
man's pocket like
300
$58
million
million
a year?
I ain't counting his pockets.
Yeah, you
So
are.
whatever he makes is not enough. They need to pay him more for what he's done for that franchise. Do you know the value of what the Cavaliers are now since he returned? They built up downtown Cleveland thanks to him.
Do you want to win or not?
I want to win and make a lot of money while winning.
Oh, one of those deals.
They're not mutually exclusive now, Skip Bayless. Two things can be true. Now, how about
Good luck.
that?
Good luck. You need more depth. He doesn't have enough help.
Whoa. You worry about the Spurs.
Yeah.
I'm going to worry about the Cavaliers. Do I look worried to you?
You look distinguished.
Whole new look for Uncle Shannon.
No mercy.
Hi, I'm Shannon Sharpe, and you're listening to the Undisputed Podcast, and this show is brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. Buffalo Wild Wings loves a Cinderella story. It's the tale of the underdog, the unexpected, and by their unexpected nature, you just can't predict when one is going to happen. It makes them great, but it also makes them frustrating, because at any moment, you could miss that Cinderella sighting. Unless you're spending March at B-Dubs, the official hangout for NCAA March Madness. Here, you'll catch every second of every game, and you'll be able to look back and tell the story of the team you watched climb their way from a low seed to champions. But only if you go to Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Now back to the show.
No mercy.
We're just over 2 weeks away from the Masters, and 42-year-old Tiger Woods is the favorite, according to Westgate, but it's been 13 years since Tiger won a green jacket. Yesterday, ESPN The Magazine released their list of the most dominant athletes of the last 20 years, and Tiger was at the top of the list. He was followed by LeBron and Peyton Manning. We're joined now by Rob Parker. Welcome, Rob.
What's happening?
Good morning.
Morning.
Shannon,
How you doing, Rob?
you know what? Those glasses, you know I'm going to say something about them. If Mr. Magoo was black and had muscles, he would look just like Shannon.
Really? You
Yes.
got your Magoo Coke bottle.
You know, I know.
Hey, look,
Are you all right?
phone booth close by. You know, I'm
Clark
yeah,
Kent,
you
is
know,
that
I
who
run
you
a bit.
are? All right.
He drives like Mr. Magoo, too.
There you go, Joy.
Rob, do you agree with Tiger being number one?
Skip Bayless?
Rob Parker.
No way, no how. Are you kidding me with this list? ESPN.
No, you're not the biggest Tiger fan to start with. but
No,
Go ahead.
But look, ESPN is so far off on this list, it's ridiculous. First of all, if this was of the previous 10 years ending in 2008, then Tiger Woods is number one at that list.
You know what? No
he
question
hasn't won a major since 2008. Joy, is this not 2018?
It is,
So
yeah.
that's 10 years, right? So the last 10 years, he stunk it up.
And by the way, just another quick point of order. The Masters he was supposed to own, he hasn't won since 2005. So that's 13 years he hasn't won a Masters.
Yeah.
Go
Right.
ahead.
So the point that he would be number one on the list, I think they're living way in the past. I get it. Those other 10 years, those previous, as dominant as you could be, especially when you add to how great he was a black man playing in a sport that white men have dominated forever. So I get it. The contrast was unbelievable.
It was.
It really was. Taken aback. I've told the story of, I'm not even a big golf guy, watching Tiger Woods win the Masters at Augusta on my honeymoon. So that's how big he was.
Beginning
But
of the end, too.
Yeah, it was the beginning of the end. But there's no way he belongs there. I mean, I'd be more apt to put Serena at number one, especially when you think she won, you know.
Australian Open.
But she won a Grand Slam with a bun in the oven. Give her credit. And she's a number 12 on the list.
That's what it's.
All right? The one thing I will give ESPN credit is that they got Tom Brady right. He's ranked at number 20 when they factored in the cheating factor and stuff. So that's why Tom Brady's way down on the list. So I'll give them credit for that. But if you ask yours truly, who's the most dominant athlete over the last 20 years, I would go with Barry Bonds. What do they say, Shannon? The hardest thing to do in sports is what?
Play baseball.
Is hit a baseball. The guy dominated the sport, and you could talk about all the other stuff that goes with it, but the bottom line to me was there was nobody, Skip, you know this, must-see TV. He walked over 225 times that season. It was either a home run or a walk, or he got one or two pitches to hit, and one would leave the ballpark almost every night. It was the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen. Barry Bonds, in the last 20 years, was the most dominant player I've ever seen.
No disrespect to the people that came up with this list, but it's not even close. It's Serena Williams. Since 2008, Tiger Woods has not won a major. Serena Williams has won 15 slams. They play the same amount of majors and the same amount of slams every year. 4 and 4, Skip. The next closest is Kim Clijsters. Think about that. Since Tiger Woods last won the U.S. Open, Serena has won 15 slams. I don't really know what else to say about that. And I agree with you, Rob, the domination over a 20-year span. Now, if you take the first 10 years, it's Tiger.
Right.
Now, Skip, if you say impact, Serena didn't make little black men and little black boys go pick up tennis rackets and says, I want to be Serena Williams. But that's what Tiger did. He was must-see TV, and he made a lot of men go play golf, especially black men. Nike built a brand, golf tailor-made in Callaway.
For a little while.
For 20 years.
Didn't sustain itself, but go ahead.
But the mere fact that they's like, we're not even in the golf business, but we're about to get into the golf business.
The original ad,
Yeah.
I am Tiger Woods. I am Tiger Woods. I am Tiger Woods.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the impact that Tiger had, I get it. The people that would watch, and you paying $10,000 for passes to go watch him at the Masters, and all the ratings and all the money, Skip, and a lot of these black athletes, I mean, because a lot of the white quarterbacks, they always play golf. Now you see so many more black athletes playing because of that, man. So if you want to say impact, nobody's probably had more impact on sports in the last 20 years than Tiger. But as far as domination, Serena is not even close, Skip. She won as a teenager. She won in the 20s. She's winning in the 30s. She won the Australia Open, 4 months pregnant? Think about this. Throw in 2 Olympic gold medals as a singles, 2 in doubles. Man, it's not even close, Skip. And that's no disrespect to Tiger because he's been fabulous. Barry Bonds was unbelievable. But as far as dominant over the last 20 years, she's 23-6 in finals. 23-6. Man, it's not even close.
You finished?
I'm done.
Good. So, back to Rob Parker's initial point. If we are talking about a 3-year window of dominance and not 20 years, if we're just talking about 3 years, it's a real close call between Barry Bonds and Tiger Woods. But I'm going to go with Rob on a 3-year window because I covered Barry Bonds in 2001.
You were there.
I was there all the way home. And it was the most unbelievable athletic feat I have ever witnessed because I know how hard it is to hit a baseball. And I know that Barry Bonds was the first hitter and the only hitter I've ever seen who actually had the advantage over the pitcher. No one's ever had that before, and he did. They were afraid to throw a strike to Barry Bonds because it was going to get blasted. You can have your PEDs if you want to, but I don't care. You still have to be able to do that.
And Skip, the pitchers were using PEDs
They
who
were.
were pitching to Barry.
Okay, so I'm going to throw that out. Forgive me. Some people are just offended, and they disqualify Barry just off the top.
Right.
But Barry Bonds, for 3 years, he dominated a sport in a way that it'll never be dominated again. I don't think we're ever going to see that again. And so did Tiger. I got to listen, those 3 years, that 99, 2000, 2001, that Tiger slam stretch, there was a lot of competition there, and he just brought everyone to their knees with high degree of difficulty because of the color of his skin. He had to deal with that. He had to deal with the negativity that surrounded him, even though the world was in awe immediately of Tiger Woods.
Remember Fuzzy Zeller and
But
all
he
those
had
guys
he had to deal with a lot of stuff along the way and just shrug it off and just keep on dropping putts from 10 feet and 12 feet and 15 and 20 feet. And his putting and his short game were the best I've ever seen for a 3-year stretch.
Yeah, but Serena, a lot of people
now-
have warmed up to Tiger. Serena's still having to deal with this.
That's true. I'll buy that.
Think about this. Serena has won a slam every year that she's played since 2007. The only year she didn't was 2011, and she missed 2. So think about that. Just imagine if a golfer won 1 major every year for a 10-year stretch.
Okay, now I got a nitpick.
Okay.
Because that's the only way to do this.
Go ahead.
My nitpick with Serena, and I'm in awe of what she has done for a long, sustained time.
Yes.
The degree of difficulty has not been great for her because her greatest rival, her greatest threat and challenge was her sister early.
Right.
Not after a while, because
Right.
she just broke through
Right.
and then her
Right.
sister had no shot.
Right.
So she's now 7-2 against her sister. But in every one of these 23 majors that she's won, except for a couple of early ones against Venus, she's been favored. So she's done what we thought she'd do because the competition has been Martina Hingis or Jennifer Capriati or Justine Enna. You know, it's like, really?
Skip,
I mean, she's just way better than they are.
She was winning slams when she was unranked. She would go into the finals.
but that
against the
didn't last long.
But I'm saying she would be unranked and she would be favored to win because nobody could serve the Skip. She had the one thing that no woman has ever had. She has that serve. And she moves better than people give her credit for someone that size. We've never seen the kind of power and the kind of athleticism. You know, the lefty Martina Navratilova, and you go back, if you want to go back, Virginia Wade and Court Smith, that was pre the open era. But you talk about, Skip, it's not even close. We talk about her biggest rival is Sharapova. Sharapova don't want no part of Serena.
Okay, but that's my point. You're making my point. I just don't think she's had a rival to bring out her greatest greatness.
That's what you do, you suppress
Okay,
it.
well, okay.
There's no rival to Apple. There's no rival to Google. Because when you come so great at something, you suppress all others. They don't want to see her Skip. I mean, think about it. It doesn't matter the surface. It's not like she won like Nadal's won like 10 clay court titles, 7 Wimbledons, 5 Australian Open, 5 the U.S. Opens, 3 French titles. Oh, come on. Because back to early, people don't know this. Early on, all the majors were played on 2 surfaces. They were either played on grass or clay. The Australian Open and the U.S. Open used to be played on grass along with Wimbledon, but they changed it. And it doesn't matter. She's unskipped. And like you said, now if you want to look at but they said 20 years. Serena came on the scene after Tiger. And she has, 9 more majors, and 9 more, majors to slam.
She's definitely dissed on this list.
12 Skip, okay, Skip,
you
you want to
no
go
doubt
Barry.
about it.
You want to go, so you want Tiger. But 12 Skip.
12th is not.
12.
Okay, now I'm going to get to my bottom line.
Okay.
Somebody is going to have to make this case at this table, and it's going to have to be me. But that guy who's ranked 20th on that
I
list,
knew it. I knew he was going
you
there.
cannot be 20th on this list.
Why
because
not?
I can make the case. I'll give you the 3-year windows on Tiger and Barry, and I'll give you Serena. But if you want to go 18 years of sustained domination with the highest degree of difficulty, because we all agree the NFL is pretty tough, right? There is severe competition. And with not great teams and often not great weapons, Tom Brady has pulled off game-winning drives in 5 Super Bowls, late game-winning drives. One got canceled by Eli to Tyree, which is the luckiest Super Bowl play in history,
Would
but
you
it got
stop?
canceled. But he pulled it off. With 2 minutes left, Tom Brady hit Randy Moss for what I thought was going to be the game-winning touchdown. So he's done it 5 times. He's been to 7 Super Bowls over this 18-game stretch, and he's been to 12 AFC championship games. And just think about this. Tom Brady is 27-10 in the postseason. So on the ESPN list, guess who's number 3?
Peyton Manning, your guy.
Okay, yeah, my guy. So Peyton Manning wound up 14-13 in the postseason, and that counted 3 late wins in the last Super Bowl drive, right? So that's he barely got above 500 with 3 career closing wins, including the Super Bowl. Tom Brady is 27-10. That's 27-14 wins. And just think about these things. On touchdown passes in the postseason, Tom Brady has 71. Second on the list is Joe Montana with 45. Game-winning drives, 11 for Tom Brady in the postseason to only 6 for John Elway. That's second. Okay, so he's almost doubled John Elway. And then how about just yards passing? It's 10,000 to 7,000, Brady over Peyton. I mean, he's crushing everybody in all the games that matter in the biggest sport in America over 18 years.
But
and you're ranking him 20th?
you're leaving out one thing. He's 0-2 against Eli Manning in Super Bowl. So there you go.
0-1 against a backup in Nick Foles.
Yeah, but
Skip, what?
wait a second. Nick Foles put up 41 points on Bill Belichick's defense, while Tom Brady, in a Super Bowl loss, was throwing for a playoff record 505 yards.
Is it about points or yards?
Okay, but
it's
you
about
got
points.
Okay, points. Who scored the most points of a losing Super Bowl team?
Lowe's,
It's
you
not
got-
even close. 33 by Tom Brady last year.
I'm adding ginger tea to my menu of
yeah,
L's.
okay, 33. But he's only won 5 Super Bowls. That's a lot, right? And he should have won 6, except for David Tyree's.
How about this here? Serena Williams in singles, doubles, and mixed doubles is 42-6.
Okay, who's had the most competition, Tom Brady or Serena Williams? Over time, who's had the most competition?
She's beat the best of the best, the number
Okay,
one.
but-
Tom Brady's not always playing the number 1 seeds. Give me a half.
And you got to remember his career.
You gotta win 6. You
He's
gotta-
played in the AFC least all those
Okay,
years
but it wasn't
and all
the-
those bad teams.
Okay, the early Rex Ryan years were not least years. Those were really good
No, they
teams.
beat
Those
him.
were
Said-
formidable
but
defenses.
what-
Yeah,
Mark
formidable
Sanchez
defense, but
beat
what
them.
about that offense?
Right.
What about that offense?
I don't know.
You see what
Pretty
happened
good.
when
It
he had to go
worked.
up against an offense?
Yeah.
Foles?
Oh, Foles, well, he's
Oh,
your
them Foles.
he's your quarterback now. You got a
he's
big
not.
problem. Yeah.
You saw Carson Wentz on Instagram.
It looks good.
Oh, Insta.
Yeah, Nick Foles is really good.
Stop trying to make it something for
And
him.
Bill Belichick's defense was really bad.
About time.
And Malcolm Butler really, really didn't play one snap in the game. He really didn't play.
Now Tom Brady finally what it feels like to be Aaron Rodgers.
was gonna say.
when you score 45
And your defense gives up
51.
50. Exactly.
Has Aaron Rodgers ever thrown for 505 in a playoff game?
No, he threw for 423 and 4 touchdowns and took the L. What about Peyton?
505?
Skip, they
Okay,
lost.
wait a second. Did Philly have a good defense? I think they had a really good
Yeah.
defense.
Whoa. Oh, so what about, see, did you see what you do? Now they have no, all them times they held Atlanta. No points for like 20 minutes. What about even the championship game?
Right.
3 points in the second half.
Jacksonville.
Well, I need to, somebody explain the Brady hate. Is
No,
it
no.
resentment? Is it
No,
jealousy?
Skip, I agree. Skip,
Is it
you're
what?
not getting any argument from me. He should not be 20th.
Well, I'm getting an argument from him.
No, but I'm giving you, there's the load factor and there's the cheating factor. They look at everything and they say, look how lucky he's been.
Well,
Now, if they have
look,
scandals,
Right?
they
No,
give
could be
you-
number one on the
disrespect, as we said, to the person that made this list, but it says it's backed by foolproof math.
Oh,
so
really?
if it's backed by foolproof math, then obviously, and I don't want to be the person to make this argument, but Floyd Mayweather is undefeated, 50-0, and he started his first fight in 1996.
Yeah.
So wouldn't
So
that fall
I'm
into
not
the
great at math,
math, but
but
wouldn't it
it
fall
seems
into-
like
You
he
never-
would,
yeah,
he
you
would
never
be
lost.
the
Again,
undisputed
who did he
number
fight?
one.
Maybe they were projecting his UFC loss to come.
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, there's got to be some other factor in
Yeah.
this other than foolproof math. And Michael Phelps and Kobe aren't on the list,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, come on now. Really?
Phelps? I was surprised.
Yeah, how Phelps, I mean, the dude got like 100 medals spanning 4 Olympics.
I don't know, maybe not enough people swim. I don't know what it is.
But Dom, I mean, so it had to be American, because what about Usain Bolt?
should
Well,
also
really, the
another
fair.
guy.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's on the list, but I mean, the only fair way to do this would be to do individual sport by sport. So there's obviously opinion.
Yeah,
involved.
they measured impact on.
No, you could do a list. This list is wrong. I mean, it's plain and simple. Tiger Woods is wrong. It's a wrong choice.
Yeah.
They botched it. I don't know what they're living in the past, this guy. Maybe he woke up and it was 10 years ago and he just...
Rob, we're going to try to get Tiger on for the interview, so stop bashing. Tiger should be number one.
Is that it? You trying to get Tiger
Yeah,
on?
we're trying
Good
to
luck
get-
with that.
I don't think it's a diss to say that he's not the most dominant
No,
athlete over
Serena.
the last 20 years.
Rena.
Although the
Rena.
most egregious list, in my opinion, that came out today was Shannon Sharpe at number 23 at the top 25 HBCU athletes of all time.
How could you
What?
be that low?
Only 23?
There's
23.
22 higher?
What?
Yeah.
Jerry Rice is in there.
Jerry Rice is higher.
like 6.
Right. I get Jerry
No,
Rice.
he's third.
Who's Steve McNair? Is he in that?
Yeah, they got him in front of me.
Doug Williams is number 1.
Doug Williams won a Super Bowl, first black quarterback to win a Super
He
Bowl.
won 3.
I want Jerry. What about Jerry? Jerry got
Doug
every
Williams-
record for the receiver, Skip.
Yeah, what did Doug Williams do when he that second quarter
Yeah,
and
but-
that Super Bowl
But
was?
wait a
Jerry's
second.
5.
Wait, he beat a Denver team without Shannon Sharpe.
Yeah,
it?
they had me out of cook. Out of cook.
No mercy.
The Cowboys' offseason has been very quiet so far. They became the last team to add a new player to their roster when they traded for a fullback yesterday. The Cowboys are expected to host wide receiver Allen Hurns today after he was released by the Jaguars, and the salary cap situation in Dallas is one of the worst in the league right now. Shannon, what's going on here?
What's going on is that they're starting to pay, Skip, for those bad contracts that Jerry gave out, and guys have underperformed, and he refused to ask for any money back. And now, because of the bad contracts that Jerry and the Cowboys have doled out, they don't have any money. I remember used to go in the store as a kid. My grandma, boy, put that down. You know D-well we can't afford that. So they can't afford anything, Skip. They got a fullback. Think about this, Skip, a fullback. Who uses a fullback? Nobody. Nobody uses a fullback.
He plays special teams. He's really good on
But
special
Skip,
teams.
Rod Smart was better.
Yeah.
But they let him go to. But anyway, think about it. I'm gonna put this in context for you, Skip. Dez Bryant and Tony Romo
Yep.
will count $25 million against their cap.
Yep.
Tony Romo doesn't even play football.
Yep.
So if you add Tyron Smith in there,
Yep.
DeMarcus Lawrence, Dez, and Romo, that's 1/3 of their cap space
It is.
tied up in 4 players.
Yep.
Now, Dez Bryant is over 16. Tyron Smith is 17. You got DeMarcus Lawrence on the 17 because he got the franchise tag. You got Zach Martin at $9 million. Skip, they can't buy anything. If they had had this, you knew free agency was coming. You knew your cap situation. You still haven't addressed this Dez situation. Now, Stephen Jones, you said you were going to talk to Dez sooner than later. Now, what I hope they're not doing is trying to put Dez in a box. All the money's gone, because Dez, reported that Dez doesn't want to take a contract.
Yep.
Well, they wait till all the money's gone. The draft is coming gone, and then they says, okay, Dez, you're going to play for this, or we're going to have to release you and put him in a bind. I hope that's not the case. That doesn't seem like something that Jerry would do. But until they get this cap situation figured out, Skip, there's really nothing they could do. Now, when you do not shop in free agency, when you come up to the plate in the draft, you can't hit no single, Skip. You better hit it out of the park. Because if you don't, the Eagles say we're getting better. The Giants says, I believe we're better than what we were last year.
Yep.
Washington, not so much. But the Cowboys better make a move, Skip, but they can't because they're financially restrained from these bad contracts. Tony Romo is $9 million of dead money, which means he doesn't even play, and that's $9 million. What can
Wait, he plays golf.
yeah. What Jerry should have done is just went ahead and bit the bullet, Skip, and took that $19 million hit last year, Skip, and now you're sitting pretty now. But he spread it out over 2 years. Now you got $9 million sitting there that you could use to maybe go out there and get a player. They got to do something. They get no explosive plays on offense. And what served them well, Skip, you remember the Dak's first year, is that time of possession, but they were paying it off with touchdowns. You're not going to methodically drive the ball, eat up 6 minutes of the clock. You better get some chunk plays.
Yep.
And right now they can't get any. But what's going on? They don't have the money to shop. So this is why they signed a fullback or traded for a fullback.
Are you happy?
No.
Yeah.
No. Skip on, I'll be happy.
You sound happy to me.
I mean,
You got that gloat going in your voice, like that "told you so" tone.
no. Now, am I happy that the Cowboys are in this situation? Absolutely not. As I look across the table and see the look in your face, I'm a little happy about that.
I am not happy. It has come to this for my Dallas Cowboys. They are the last NFL team to add a player this offseason, and that player, as you point out, is a fullback who used to be on their practice squad once upon a time. And he does play special teams, and I don't care. Because this is humiliating, it's embarrassing, it's scary, and not only did they just add a fullback, they lost Anthony Hitchens, who was a playmaker for them on defense. He's a pretty good player. He went to Kansas City. And meanwhile, I had to sit back and watch your Eagles last year add Alshon and Torrey Smith, which was just what the doctor ordered for Carson Wentz. And then I had to turn around and watch them add Michael Bennett and Haloti Ngata this year. And then they re-signed Nigel Bradham, who I have respect for. He's a good player. He's like their Anthony Hitchens type player. And they gave him a lot of money. And I'm saying, where's all this money come from? I don't know. But Howie Roseman has managed the cap beautifully.
Did a great job.
And they even went out and got Darryl Worley, who he caught my eye a couple times last year from Carolina as a cornerback to add to the mix at cornerback.
They lost Robinson.
Who's a good player.
Yeah,
he was
with New Orleans.
like a breakout player
Yes.
for them. But they obviously got a little better. But if you watch Jerry's MO, and you can argue with me that he's just resting on his Hall of Fame laurels now, but his MO for really the last 6 years has been no more plunging in free agency. He plunged on Brandon Carr. I thought it worked out okay. I thought he was a decent player. You called him used Carr.
He wasn't to leave in free agency.
No.
He didn't do what Darrelle Revis did for the Patriots.
No, I agree. So that was the last plunge. That was clear back in 2012. So all they could do was keep DeMarcus Lawrence Taylor, as I call him, and they did. They tagged him, and they kept him. And they kept David Irving, who I still have high hopes for because he's a giant man.
Yeah.
And
That's $23 million. That's $26 million in two players.
okay, and yet, if you tell me that I have Ezekiel Elliott for all 16 games next year, okay, I got a chance.
Yes.
If you tell me Dak stays healthy as he runs more with the football, because I think they're going to use him a lot more in read option plays, and he can stay healthy for 16 games, I got a chance. If you tell me my offensive line actually lives up to its contracts and its billing next year, I got a chance. I don't got a chance at any of the receiver positions. I just don't. I don't know what
you need, Skip. You need playmakers outside.
I need playmakers. So now we get to the Dez dilemma, and it hangs over this whole franchise because I keep waiting for the other cleat to drop, and it won't drop because I'm now convinced Jerry's just going to bite his bullet, stubborn pride, and say, watch what, you know how Jerry gets. He'll try to prove to the world I was right about Des Bryant when I gave him this money, and they'll throw him right back out there, and history will continue to repeat, and he will lead the league in drops next year. And you know and I know he and Dak have little to no chemistry, and I don't think they're going to snap their fingers and magically get it because I'm just guessing, but as we speak, I don't think they're out on some practice field in Dallas, Fort Worth, somewhere throwing and catching passes. I'll bet you they're not.
It's just the likelihood of a receiver trends down for 3 years, and then all of a sudden we see an uptick in his play. That doesn't normally happen.
It does not happen.
When Dez was athletic, Dez was never what we call a burner. He was never a 4-4, but he could get separation. But lower extremity injuries have taken its toll.
They have.
So now he doesn't get that separation. Defensive note, Skip, every defense, we know what the scouting report is. Back shoulder fade and in-breaking routes. We play two things. I'm not worried about him running by me, so I'm just going to play even with him to try to nullify the back shoulder fade. I just don't get what Jerry. I get it, Jerry. You drafted Dez, and Dez earned the contract, Skip. I don't have a problem with them giving him he earned it. 2013, 2014 was special.
Yep.
But 2015, okay, you're like, well, he did have 2016. normally they don't let you get 3 years, Skip. They let dads get 3 years with a downturn and possibly coming back with a 4th year. I just don't see how they let him play with this cap number. I just don't see how it happens, Skip. I just don't.
So, my man Bryce Butler is still out there on the market. Maybe he comes home for a fairly reasonable deal. It's possible. I told you last year going into the regular season, Rico Gathers was a preseason monster last year, and he suffered in training camp a serious head injury that cost him the whole year. He posted yesterday on Instagram that he will be the next best tight end in football.
Yeah.
And I believe he's got a shot if his head, if he can get cleared and avoid concussions.
I mean, Jason Wynn making $7 million.
I know, and that's...
that's a lot of money. But, I mean, he's not these Kelce's. He doesn't change the game. Jason, is he going to catch the ball? Yes. Get you key third downs. But you need guys now. That position is more than just third downs. That position is what you see with Gronk, what you see with the Travis Kelce's, the Greg Olsons, the Delaney Walkers. That's what that position is gravitated towards. It's not just good enough to get a first down to here or there. It's not just good enough to have 50 catches and 500 yards. Skip, you need 800, 900, 1,000. You need 7, 8, 10, 12 touchdowns from that position. And they don't get it. First of all, they're not getting 10 touchdown totals from the wide receivers and tight end combined. Which lets you know that puts a lot of pressure on your running game. That puts a lot of pressure on your quarterback because you don't feel you can throw the ball, have him break a tackle, and go hit his head on the goalpost.
So, to your point, my Dallas Cowboys now have 10 picks in the 7 rounds because they got 2 4th-round picks and 3 6th-round picks for what that's worth. So they have 10 total picks. So they're about to pick, late April, 10 more players. And right now, Jerry is saying basically to you, in Will McClay, I trust. Because Will McClay, a former receiver and defensive back at Rice, is now running the Cowboy drafts for the last couple of years, and he's been pretty good. Well, he did the Dak Zeke draft, so that worked out pretty well. And I still think with Jordan Lewis and Awuzie last year, I think it'll work out. I think it's coming.
Do you realize what's on the horizon? Dak Prescott's going to need a new contract. Ezekiel Elliott's going to need a new contract. You know Zach Martin, he needs a new contract.
He deserves one.
DeMarcus Lawrence, trouble. You think they have trouble now with the cap. Wait till those guys. You know what it's going to cost. You know what quarterbacks are signing for. You don't think Dak Prescott sees that? Now, Zeke Elliott is waiting on Le'Veon Bell to set this market. Le'Veon said he want like 14, 15 million. Well, Zeke's down the road in about 2 years. What's he going to want?
Okay. So, the Cowboys have the 19th pick in the first round and the 50th overall pick in the second round. Just me, I wouldn't mind seeing 2 receivers picked at 19 and 50. And trust me, it's a deep receiver draft. And the one I like the least will go first, and that's Calvin Ridley. I'm just not a big fan. I didn't see enough from him. But after that, I like James Washington. I like DJ Moore. I like DJ Chark at LSU. I don't know if you saw him play, but he took over the combine, but they didn't throw him many balls at LSU, which happens in that program with Etling throwing to you. I like Cortland Sutton from SMU. There are a lot of receivers that are going to be available at 19 and 50.
Well, I think Ridley is the most polished. He's the best route runner. He's the best tactician. And
he just never blew me away. I'm not sure he's a game changer.
I thought his rookie year was his best year. His freshman campaign was his best.
I buy that.
Best campaign.
But,
hey, you might have to package 19 and go up. Skip, you got to get a playmaker, Skip. You got to get somebody that can stretch the field. You got to get someone that can go hit their head on the goalpost.
They do. I don't think Calvin Ridley's worth going up for. And by the way, I'm not sure that his stock isn't falling to the point he could still be there at 19. I wouldn't be shocked by it.
Well, yeah, if he's there at 19, they'd be foolish not to take him.
Then that would be a value spot for him.
Yes.
But other than that, you just got to keep building through the draft, and they're still a very good football team. Are they as good as the Eagles? Well, obviously they're not, because the Eagles just keep on keeping on. Because the Eagles were built to last, and this team is going, oh, now you're a big Eagle fan.
I'm just stretching myself as pliability.
Just wait. By about December, I'm going to be over here saying, bye, Eagles, bye.
Whoa. With the Cowboys?
Well, yeah.
Do you see what they're not doing? Okay.
Well, hey, we still got Sean Lee. Don't forget about Sean Lee. You give me a healthy Sean Lee for 16 games, I got a shot.
What has history told you about Sean Lee?
Not good things.
At some point, he's going to miss some time.
Well, maybe next year will be a miraculous year. Maybe Dan Bailey will refigure it out and he will win Joy's fantasy league for him.
Skip. I mean, at the end of the season,
Yeah.
doink.
Yeah, he was doinking. He got the kicking demons.
You know, sometimes when you get those things, you know, Blair Walsh.
You're just shot, done. You know, could be. It looks a little bleak right now for my Cowboys, but I am not giving up.
Unfortunately, misery loves company, but I'm not joining you.
Why? You wore your Cowboys colors today.
My team is doing well.
Look like the Cowboys lawyer, special counsel.
Yeah, but it should look like Jerry.
No mercy.
We're joined by Hall of Famer Rod Woodson. He's got a couple grays coming
Yeah,
in there.
No, you got the, what's up with the
the
glasses?
Beijing. Oh, you talking about this right here?
Yeah, Urkel.
But I need these. I can't. You know, these haters was getting up on me too quick, Rod. So I needed something I can see them coming from a mile away.
A little bit smaller, man. A little bit smaller,
This is me.
man.
I'm a big dude.
The glasses can't be big, too.
What you want me to like? What you want me like?
Come on, Shay.
You want me a spectacle?
We had Shay. 9 was another name we called him because I was 8, Ray was 7, he was 9.
Oh.
That was our numbers adding up, so I was 26, 8.
You
So-
Woody.
They called me Woody, they called me Paco, they called me a lot of names.
Yeah, a lot of them we can't. You know.
Welcome back to Undisputed, Rod. Let's talk about a position that you know very well, cornerback. Richard Sherman was introduced as a 49er yesterday. He signed a 3-year, $27 million deal, but it has a lot of incentives. Sherman represented himself and has been criticized for the deal. But yesterday, he defended his contract. Let's take a listen.
The thing I'm most frustrated about is that, you know, all the people that were like so high on bashing this deal refuse to bash the agents that do awful deals every year. I mean, there are agents out there that are doing, you know, $3 million fully guaranteed deals that look like $50 million deals. When the guy gets cut after 2 weeks or after a year, and the guy only makes $5 million of a $50 million contract, and nobody sits there and bashes the agent. You don't hear any Florio writing any articles about it. I mean, the kid from Philly, I think Brenham or something, it's a 1-year, $6 million deal, but to everybody else, it's a $40 million deal. There's nobody to bash it because nobody's even paying attention to most of these agents and their deals.
Rod, did Sherman make a mistake representing himself?
You know, I get the idea behind it because he's an older player. He's turning 30 next week. He's had this one major injury. Other than that, he's played every single game. And I get that he doesn't want to pay the 4% or 3% or whatever it is to the agent. But to do a deal where you're getting $27 million deal, 3 years, and only the signing bonus is basically guaranteed. It says $7 million guaranteed, but it's really hard to see that. It's really 24. Everything else is if. If you stay healthy, if you play this way, if you do this, if you have playing time. That's a lot of riding all on yourself. Right. Really, I know he believes in himself. I know he has a lot of confidence. He has a lot of swagger.
Yes.
But you're an older player, and if you get hurt one more time, you're done. Right. So I just think an agent wouldn't have had all those incentives. They would have had some incentives, and it would have been based maybe more guarantees. I just think players have to sometimes step away from themselves.
Yes.
I know he's a smart guy. He went to Stanford. I get it. But sometimes you got to step away from yourself and say, you know what? I can have somebody else can represent me, and I can remove myself because he's been doing this for a living. He understands a little bit better than I do, and maybe he has a better relationship with John Lynch than I do. And I think that would have gave him a better opportunity to have a better deal.
For me, Richard believes he did a great deal. And Skip, that's all that matters. Do I think he should have had an agent? Woody, I agree with you. Absolutely. There's a reason why there have agents. You wouldn't let your agent go play football for you because that's not what he does.
Yep.
But you're trying to do what he does. Here's the thing, Skip. You only negotiated with the 49ers. Now, why didn't you just wait? You could have waited 3 more days. Free agency hit on Wednesday the 14th. You signed this deal basically, like you said, they called you like 3 minutes after you got released. But you're only dealing with them. I want to see anybody else interested in Richard Sherman. Like you said, prior to this, I had no injuries. Now, Seattle made it abundantly clear. They tried to release you, tried to trade you the year before. So it looks like to me they're trying to get all these strong personalities out of the locker room. They're going to remake this team. They're going to make it in the image of Russell Wilson. But Skip, I have a criminal justice degree. And what they tell us in the law is that any man that represents himself has a fool for a client. I don't want to hear what they're going to tell me. My agent's going to tell me certain things, but certain things he's going to leave out of the equation because I don't need to hear just in case I have to go back there or I have to go there. Because they're going to tell you all the things that you can't do and you're slowing down, you're not this, you're not that. I don't need to hear that. Just tell me the good stuff and how much I'm going to get. But I do, and I agree. All these deals, they look pie in the sky. Man, that dude got a 5-year, $115 million.
Yeah.
But when you get through the 5, unless you got a Kirk Cousins deal, everybody else's deal is bump. Unless you got that deal. Because it says fully, F-U-L-L-Y, fully guaranteed. So all that other stuff, Skip, is just window dressing. And I agree, but he says, I got $5 million guaranteed. Basically, he got $3 million to sign his name. Now, if he's healthy by November the 11th, which is the last, that's another $2 million. And he says, well, I believe I'm going to play every game because I played every game up until this point. But Skip, so many things can go wrong. Somebody jumps over the pile, you standing around, there goes the ankle, there goes the knee. That's just a lot to riding on yourself. I get the Pro Bowls, but when you start talking about playing time, what happens if you get a big lead? What happens if you get blown out? So those things factor in.
So, I do admire Richard Sherman for trailblazing because this was a gutsy move on his part. And he's trying to show the rest of the union this is possible. You can use the union people to help you negotiate. So I get that because that's breakthrough now.
Yes.
He's trying to break through in his way the way Kirk Cousins did with fully guaranteed. He's trying to show you you can save, I think it's 3% maximum. So you can save 3%, which is a lot of percent when you get up in those big numbers.
Right.
But in the end, the harder I look at this, he sold himself way short.
Yes.
And you know what happened? This is human nature. But in his Players Tribune piece that he posted yesterday, he said that the 49ers called him 3 minutes after the news hit the wire that he had been dumped by Seattle. That within 3 minutes, he gets a call from Kyle Shanahan saying, you should come here tonight. And he said they were in Las Vegas at a Players Association meeting, and that he and his fiance threw their stuff together and ran to the Vegas airport to catch the next flight to San Jose to get to have dinner with both Kyle and John Lynch. Okay, so you know what happens when you get dumped for the first time in your life, and it hurts, man.
Yeah.
You know, right?
The next woman looks really
Ooh,
good.
right. Especially if she's whispering sweet nothings in your ear,
I would
right?
treat you so much better than that last lady did. But
Yeah.
here's the thing, Skip.
But he said they just wowed him that night. They had the greatest talk about schemes and we need you, and he just committed right away that night.
Well,
He
it's the
said,
same scheme that they had in Seattle.
Right.
It's the same, but he gets to play against the Seattle Seahawks
Okay,
twice
that
a year.
helped.
That's
That
the key. I think he wants to give it back to his old team.
Okay.
To let them know they made a mistake.
For me, Skip, I can see if he's going in the draft and you want to do it yourself because you're slotted, unless you're a quarterback. And the players normally get 5 to 10% more than what the previous player got in that very slot, like I said, unless you're a quarterback. When you're a free agent, you can negotiate what are the markets willing to bear. Well, if you only negotiate with one team, how do you know what the market will bear? If you waited this long, I mean, a lot of guys wait their entire life to be free agent. This was the first time Richard Sherman was a free agent.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe you didn't want to fly, maybe you didn't want to go all these places, but you can have an agent, and he can handle that and says, okay, Richard, we got this team, this team, this team, and this team.
Bidding against each other.
Yeah.
You could have.
Now, he could have been comfortable because you got to remember, he went to Stanford, he's in the Bay, he's back in the Bay
that
again,
works.
and he gets to play against his old team. So you got to remember, when you get cut, did you play against Denver again?
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. That's in the playoffs.
Remember,
Without a sideline. But anytime that you get cut by your old team,
hurts,
and you can play against that team again when you go to another team, you're there.
Yeah.
You are playing against them. I remember the first time I played against the Steelers, I was excited to play against those guys because they cut me and I was going to let them know that they did wrong. So I think, yes, he could have got a better deal, but for him, I think he's coming back to the Bay and he's going to play against these guys twice a year to let them know they made a mistake cutting me.
Here's the thing. You know, Colonel Sanders sold the original recipe for $2 million. He thought that was a good deal. Skip, was that a good deal?
No.
You know, Microsoft had a bid on the table to buy Yahoo for $48.5 billion. They sold it for $4 billion. At the time, they said that's not a good deal. Do you think $4 billion is a better deal than $48 billion? It all depends, Skip. Richard Sherman believes he knocked it out of the park.
But he immediately declared himself. He acknowledged, I'm damaged goods.
Right.
I'm an X factor. So I'm going to let them factor that into my lack of guarantees. I'm going to have to prove to them my Achilles is going to be okay. Well, that's just wrong. The other teams, if you'd gone on the market and created an auction for Richard
Yeah,
Sherman,
absolutely.
they wouldn't have cared about that because they look what Sue is doing right now. He's the big name left out there on the market. What's he doing? He's taking trip after trip after trip, and he's building where people are going to get desperate. I gotta have it. Gotta have
he
Sue.
still can play. He still can play, and I get it. Sue is he's not injured. Right. Richard Sherman's coming off that Achilles injury,
and he wasn't fast in the beginning.
But we saw Brent Grimes. Brent Grimes had an Achilles injury. He came back and went to 3 straight Pro Bowls, starting immediately after he had the injury. So we have some history with this injury in cornerbacks, and they're the exact same age. For me, I'm going to try to get as many people bidding on the situation as I possibly can. Look, you want to prove to your team. I can prove something better to them that they gave up. Just be successful. Me winning that, I don't care if I didn't play against the Broncos. Me going and winning the Super Bowl, leading the team in receptions, that was good enough for me. And win the Super Bowl, that shit can still play.
Right.
Yeah, I'm good. Nah, that ain't how I do business. I ain't going to break up with somebody and then go try to date her best friend to get back at her. That ain't got nothing to do with me. Hey, I'm good over here. Okay, we good over here with it.
You can see clearly now.
Yeah.
Right? With those glasses.
Yeah, I see real good. Yeah, Skip. I see you. Yep, I beat you down again. You
George, you see what he had to do? He had to lift his glasses up and look with his real vision.
Yeah, I'm like,
yeah,
I beat you down.
Do you have the giant sunglasses that go over top of the glasses?
No. I just had my lenses with medicine put in my sunglasses.
You know what they called Tiger Woods when he was at Stanford his first year? They called him Urkel because he had on giant glasses. They called him Urkel, so maybe you got some Tiger Woods in you.
But Tiger had them, them teeth.
Yeah.
Saber-tooth tiger, what they called it.
No mercy.
Our friend Joel Klatt has released his newest mock draft on FoxSports.com, and he has Sam Darnold going #1 to Cleveland. Let's take a look at the top 6. The Giants take Saquon Barkley. The Jets go with Baker Mayfield. The Browns take defensive end Bradley Chubb. The Broncos draft Denzel Ward, and the Bills trade up for Josh Allen. Joel also has Josh Rosen going 8th to the Cardinals. So, Shannon, do you agree the Jets would take Baker Mayfield over Rosen and Allen?
No. I don't agree that they will, and I don't think that they should, because everything that scares you about Baker Mayfield becomes heightened in New York City. I believe the Jets should take a quarterback, just not that quarterback. He has some of the smallest hands at 9 1/4, and I know people say, well, Drew Brees has small hands, but Drew Brees played in San Diego, and he plays indoors. So that's a whole different ball game. Josh Allen had the biggest at 10 1/4, 10 1/2. So you want someone in that inclement, because last I checked, it's not 70 and sunny most Sundays in New York. So that's going to be a problem with him holding on to the ball. And you also play in New England. You also play in Buffalo. So you're going to basically get a couple of games, because you do play in Miami, but, everybody beats up on Miami, Joy. Unfortunately, and I'm sorry to share that little news with you. But we've seen guys that have problems with immaturity, and they go to New York, and what happens? The Giants are dealing with one on a regular basis, Skip, and he happens to play receiver. Can you imagine if Odell was a quarterback and it exhibited this type of behavior? Well, I know, but he's going to, no, I'm just telling you what I've seen. And I just think the thing is, for me, and I think Eli fit the Giants. But even if the Giants had not selected Eli, Phillip Rivers would have been okay because of his background. How would you have wanted to put Ben Roethlisberger in New York, Skip? Nah, probably not. So that weighs into where a guy goes, especially if he has issues with immaturity. So for me, Baker Mayfield would be a no at 3.
I tried to tell you Monday. It's going to happen. And Joel is on the right track. Joel has seen the light. Broadway Baker is going to happen. Mayfield does Manhattan is going to happen. Because Baker Mayfield is just what the doctor ordered for the Jets at this point in their existence, because they have been down and out of the news. And Baker Mayfield, trust me, will dominate the back page headlines of the New York tabloids starting in training camp if, in fact, the Jets draft him. And I believe they will, and I believe they should, because he is the readiest to play of all these quarterbacks. And I agree with all the off-field red flags that have been raised, and I have all my concerns too.
But you blowing through the red lights. You just gonna just buy it like they don't mean nothing this time.
Sometimes you got places to go.
Leave earlier.
Shannon,
Yes.
the kid can play.
Oh, I have no
Can
doubt
play.
about that.
He can play. And I call him a kid, and he's only 22, but sometimes he acts like he's 32, and sometimes he acts like he's about
12.
16,
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
like he just got his driver's license
Yeah.
and he's blowing through the red lights.
Yeah.
And do I trust him after hours? Would I trust him in Manhattan? Probably not.
Hold on, Skip, hold on. So let me. I want to make sure I'm hearing you. Let me take this off right quick.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
yeah.
Now
So let me get this right, Joy.
Well, those got like tortoiseshell interior.
That's horn.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
That's that real stuff.
Yeah, okay.
That's that real stuff.
How much did you pay for
Hey,
those?
don't do it, Skip.
Huh?
I told you, my grandfather used to say, boy, you be as cheap as you want to. Don't be cheap to yourself. Treat myself real
Now
good.
you look weird without your glasses.
Okay, I'll put it back on. I'll put it back
Coming
on.
up.
Skip, you just said you have some concerns about him in the Manhattan nightlife,
I do.
but you still would take it. So,
Okay, look, here's the difference so far between Baker and Johnny Manziel.
Okay.
That's the obvious and apt comparison.
okay,
Johnny fell to substance abuse.
Right.
And I won't even define all the substances,
Okay.
but it was substance abuse, and that
Okay.
can start with alcohol,
Right.
obviously. So far, to my knowledge, Baker has not fallen to anything but alcohol abuse, occasional abuse, where he got arrested for public intoxication
Right.
after fleeing the police and getting thrown against a brick wall.
that should concern you, Skip.
Fayetteville, Arkansas. That was in Fayetteville, Arkansas, let alone Manhattan.
Dude got a flashlight and a gun and flip-flops and chase him down before he...
Well,
So what DN can he escape
okay.
from? Go ahead.
you know, that worries me a whole lot more than crotch grabs or, social media posts as
Yeah.
they go to Baylor, like, who's your daddy, and kids in town and all that. I get all that, but I do like he plays with the biggest chip on his shoulder I've
Yeah.
ever seen, bigger than Johnny's chip on his shoulder at Texas A&M. He is much more accurate than Johnny was, with a liver arm than Johnny had. So he's a better thrower of the football.
He make most of his plays in the pocket.
He does.
Johnny made most of his outside of the
He
pocket.
did, and Baker can buy time in the pocket because
Correct.
he has elusive feet. He's not fast down the
Right.
field. He's not going to. You're not going to call running plays
Mm-hmm.
for Baker Mayfield, but he can buy time in the pocket to give him a little more of an advantage, a lane to throw through, at 6 feet and 5/8 of an inch, which is 5/8 of an inch taller than Drew Brees is. And I got you on the little hands, but I'll give you the big hands with Josh Allen. I just don't love what I've seen so far. Is he a project in 3 years? Could he start to be something? He's way behind where Carson Wentz was. Carson Wentz was much readier to play
Yes.
from what I saw in that championship game they played in. That's the only time I ever watched him on TV.
Right.
And I watched Josh Allen 3 times on TV, and I just didn't like what I see. I don't like the inaccuracy,
but here-
the lack of poise, the lack of feel.
And not to say this is going to happen, but I know. But Tom Brady was a project. They took him in the 6th round. They didn't think Tom Brady was going to be this, and so now we have the luxury of looking back and says, "Wow, look what he became."
Okay, but Charlie Weiss has told us the second he stepped on the practice field as a rookie, they're like, "Wow, he is acting like he owns our practice."
Right.
field."
They liked the command that he displayed.
Right.
They liked the professionalism that they had, and they had no red flags of no off the field
no red
behavior.
flags.
So he went there with the sole purpose of saying, you know what, I'm going to be the Patriots franchise quarterback. There's certain behavior that I must exhibit
Yeah.
to show them that moving forward that they can trust me. That when I go home, they're never going to get a call and have to hear about Tom Brady. Are you sure that's going to be the case with Baker Mayfield?
You know what's funny about all this? On the field, he's a risk taker, but he's not a mistake maker. So I like all that off-field erratic behavior, whatever you want to call it. It sometimes manifests itself in his performance because he'll try things where you say, "Uh-oh, look out." Yet he only threw 6 interceptions last
Right.
year. So he's an efficient gambler, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's why I like him, because he led the nation effectively in raw QBR the last 2 years. Well, that's taking into account that you're not making any mistakes.
Right.
He doesn't fumble. He doesn't. You can't sack fumble. He had a couple, but not. He just doesn't do it regularly.
Right.
He protects the football. And I still say against Georgia, He played a great first half. He threw for 202 yards against one of the best defenses in the
Yeah.
country. It's a top 5.
You better be glad he didn't get a hold of old St. Nick.
Yeah.
Ain't no telling what would have happened.
Torch that secondary because they always get
He
torched.
might have been an early third-round pick
Yeah, you
if
think
he'd got
so?
a hold of St. Nick.
No,
100 yards passing. That's all we give him.
Well, unfortunately, Georgia got a hold of Lincoln Riley's play calling because late in that game, they kept trying to trick Georgia, like outwit them, and it just didn't work. So, again, did I love what Baker did late in the game? I did not. He never took over the game. He never transcended the game. But Lincoln Riley kept calling trick plays.
Don't do that, Skip.
Well, he did.
You
Well,
commended
know
it.
I know it. I did not commend
No,
it.
you
I
love
didn't
Lincoln
it.
Riley.
Well, I did until the two overtimes.
Well, you were happy that they got rid of Bob Stoops.
Was I? Well, look at the year they had. That was pretty good.
Bob Stoops won a championship. His first or second year, didn't he?
1999.
But it's in the book.
It's in the book.
When the last time you won a championship? 1999. But old St. Nick got 5 of them things.
Yep. Well, he's had a lot of crashes and burns, but
Who?
that's okay. St. Nick.
No, don't do that. Skip. Don't do that.
Huh?
Don't do that. The man
Well,
been there
yeah.
for 12 years and got 5 titles. And lost in the title game and went to the Alabama Invitational.
You realize you're going to get haunted by this because Baker Mayfield's going to the Jets at number 3, and you're going to
Yeah.
have to deal with it.
That's what I'm saying. That's why Tom Brady keeps walking to the Super Bowl. Because he got the Jets, Miami, Buffalo. Don't have to play. That's 6 wins right there. 5-1 at worst.
Tom Brady, meet Baker Mayfield. Here we go. Twice a year.
Come on, Patriots.
You think Baker Mayfield be afraid of Tom Brady?
Oh,
I
you're a
don't.
Patriots fan again?
Yep.
You gonna stop pretending like you're an Eagles fan?
No, Carson Wentz, my favorite player. That's me and Bron's favorite player.
Yeah, once in a lifetime, except Nick Foles makes it twice in a lifetime.
So what happens when Nick Foles go follow this up with Nick Foles? When Carson Wentz goes back and wins it again, what you gonna say?
Well, you just said a mouthful because it's not going to happen.
Whoa, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, okay.
No, it's not gonna happen because I got a dark horse.
Oh, you do?
I got a dark horse.
The Jets.
No, stop it.
No mercy.
Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. We're back at the same time tomorrow morning, 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports. One of one.